Hey guys, what's up? It's Darkmech here, and I'm back today with episode 2 in Tank Legion. And today guys, we are going to talk about the general rules of tank positioning. We're going to talk about things that make your tank life easier. So this is add-ons, macros, UI adjustments, and we're also going to talk about keybinding. So hopefully if there's something that interests you in this, stay tuned. If not, you know my principle, you just fuck off and watch another video. So guys, starting off, we are going to start with the general rules around positioning. Now, we touched on this really briefly in episode 1, where we spoke about, your job as the tank is to put trash mobs, bosses, all that stuff in convenient, accessible spots for your party and raid to access. So there is a real general basic rule of thumb that I want to cover off now, and that is generally as the tank, you always want to pick up the mobs, pick up the boss, and face them away from your group or your raid. The reason behind this is if there's any cleave mechanics, any frontal cone attacks like smashes, any breath attacks, you are the only one that needs to get hit or move, rather than dividing your party or raid, having to stop casting to get out of the way of a huge smash if it's facing them, getting them all breathed upon and dying, or just taking that unnecessary damage. There certainly are bosses that are an exception to that, where their cleave damage is spread among however many players is hit by it, or there's a frontal cone attack like that. But as we also touched on in episode 1, if you are reading up and sort of knowing a bit about the encounters that you're going into, you're going to know which bosses need to be faced towards your party or the raid. But the general rule of thumb is face them away. There's even mobs in the 5-mans in Blackrock Holds one, I can't remember what they're called, but they do the bone smash where they stun you and anyone else that's hit. So as the tank, obviously, you want to be facing them away so you are not getting your healer and your DPS stunned. So general rule, guys, face them away. Dragon bosses are something I want to touch on as well, because some of the world bosses in Legion are dragons. Dragons have 2 mechanics you really need to watch out for. One is a tail swipe, and one will be the breath attack they have. So the raid will always line up along the side of a dragon, and you as a beginner tank, if you've gone out into your tanking role, you're in a 40-man raid, everyone's going to die, and you are eventually going to get a chance to tank. If you are one of the last tanks remaining and it is going to switch onto you when the next one dies, make sure you are up the front and ready to move the dragon when needed, because what's going to happen is if you are tanking in the pack, you are next on threat, the current tank dies, the dragon turns to face you, it's going to tail swipe whatever half of the raid is standing on the wrong side of the dragon, and then if you're standing in the rest of the raid, you're probably going to get them breathed upon if you're not quick enough to switch back to the front. So just be mindful of these mechanics around a dragon, and they always have those mechanics. So that's it around sort of general positioning, guys. Always face it away from the party. It's the easiest thing to remember. So what can you have that's going to make your life easier as a tank? And this is where we start getting into add-ons and UI enhancements. I'm struggling to speak. I'm 3 minutes in. So the first one I want to talk about is enemy nameplates. There's 2 that I would recommend. There's lots out there, but there are 2 that I would recommend for this. Tidy plates is my number 1 recommendation. It also has a tie-in called threat plates, which is fantastic. The second one is LVUI nameplates. They're the built-in ones with LVUI, and they are also really good. There's a few reasons that enemy nameplates are important. One is that if you don't have aggro on the mobs that you are tanking, you will know. So my current setup is that all the mobs are red. All their enemy nameplates are red. When I have aggro on them, they change to blue. So if I'm tanking 7 mobs, and one of them is still red, that means that red one is pounding on a healer or a DPS, and I need to get aggro on that mob. And that is, I cannot tell you how amazing that is. The second real bonus to these add-ons is that you can watch your cooldowns and debuffs via them. So you'll get icons on those nameplates, so I can see how much time is remaining on my Thunderclap, my Demo Shout, Deep Wounds, stun timers. You can see their cast bars, so you know when to interrupt them. So really, really fucking important add-ons to have, guys, are enemy plates. If you are playing without enemy plates at the moment as a tank, it's a pretty big no-no. The next add-on I want to talk about is weak auras. Weak auras is an absolutely fantastic tool for keeping track of your abilities. You can monitor your cooldowns, your uptimes, your procs. You can pretty much do everything with this add-on that has to do with abilities. You can also move them wherever you want on your screen. You can change the transparency of the icons. You can have bars instead of icons if you want. You can make them flash. You can make them have sounds. You can do lots of things with them. And it kind of appears quite complex when you first get into it. but there's tutorials all over the internet for them. When you actually download Weak Auras, there is a Weak Auras tutorial in that package as well. But what I would recommend, and this may come as a shock, is to just fucking steal everybody else's. There are a lot of really fucking smart WoW gamers out there who make really good Weak Auras, things that maybe you really want to track, you haven't thought of, or you don't know how to do. These people make it, and they put them up, and they're happy for people to use. Obviously, just don't take credit for them as making them yourselves. I made a lot of my own in WoD, and it's tedious and things like that. And for this one, people started posting them on MMO Champ, and I just pretty much started going and taking what I wanted from them. Two of the guys that I've pretty much made my entire warrior Weak Auras off are Kisses and Kakans, and I think I stole Max Rage Bar as well. But I just went and took bits and pieces from their packages that I want, moved the icons to where I want, changed the fonts or the timers if I wanted, remove flashes. And you just pretty much make your own via that way, and it is a really good way to do that because, as I said, there are some really clever people doing these things. So by all means, if you're all into knowing how things work and doing it, watch the tutorials, learn to make them all yourselves. Otherwise, go searching forums and things like that. Some people have some really fantastic UI packages. You may even find a Weak Auras package that you don't need to change a thing for and you really love. Otherwise, you may find bits and pieces for abilities that you want. Take those and then you'll make your own that you are highly happy with. And that's currently what my Warrior UI is. Except for Elf UI, I did all that shit myself. Now, I should also mention Tell Me When, because this is a similar add-on to Weak Auras. I do not use Tell Me When. I have no experience with Tell Me When. I have only heard from people that it can do very similar things to Weak Auras and that it is actually easier to use than Weak Auras. So, up to you guys. Suss out both of those add-ons and just go with whatever one you are comfortable with. I've always used Weak Auras, so that's the one that I stick with. The third add-on I want to talk about, these are in no order of importance, guys, but this one is really fucking important to have, is Deadly Boss Mods or Bigwigs. They both do the same thing. It depends whichever way your boat floats as to which one you want to go with. I have always used Deadly Boss Mods, so I use Deadly Boss Mods. DBM or Bigwigs will tell you in great big thick fuck off letters across your screen when it is time to move, or when it is time to use an active mitigation ability for a boss special, or when you need to switch to an add. It can really help you get through encounters that you may not have much knowledge of. And it is incredibly important to have. So if you do not have DBM, even as a healer or a DPS that is new to this game and you're watching this video, go and get DBM or Bigwigs. Fourth add-on I want to talk about is SCADA. Now, SCADA is a similar one. You may have heard of Recount, which is a DPS meter. SCADA allows you to have two windows up, so you can have a DPS or a damage meter, and you can also have a healing meter up. So for warriors, your ignore pain is shown as an absorption, which comes up in the healing meter. Your death strikes for dehaze, you can monitor your HPS, your brewmasters, your holy paladins, your protection paladins. Other things that you can do with SCADA is you can track your deaths and your damage taken. So what you can do through this is you can go and look at how many times you used your active mitigation through the series of that fight. You can go and track your death and see that if you died and used the shield block in 20 seconds of that death, you didn't use enough shield blocks, you fucked up. So you can really sort of analyze your playstyle that way. Warcraft Logs is a far better tool for doing that, but just as a basic add-on, SCADA is a really good add-on to have and one that I would recommend you get. The last add-on I want to touch on, and I actually really should have made sure that this had been updated for Legion. I assume it has. If it hasn't, I will put it in big block letters across the screen, is Taunt Master. Taunt Master is a fantastic add-on for beginner tanks. What Taunt Master will do is it will give you a 5-man party group similar to your one that's on your screen, in the squares like the LVI format. And what it will do is it'll all be white, and you can move it wherever you want on the screen. If someone gets aggro that is not you, their square will turn red, and all you need to do is click on that red square and it will auto-taunt the mob that is attacking them. It is a fantastic tool for beginner tanks, and one that I would absolutely recommend if holding threat or that is a real sort of anxiety issue for you. It's a real good safety net to have, so Taunt Master, guys. A few of you may be wondering why I haven't made any mention of Omen Threat Meter. It's pretty simple, to be honest. I really think Blizzard fucked threat so bad that it is no longer an issue anymore about even trying to hold threat or gain threat. Being in a defensive role in a party or raid pretty much means that you're going to hold threat. One Thunderclap is enough to get a group of adds or a Blood Boil or whatever you're using. It's certainly not a bad add-on. I just didn't see any reason for it anymore, as the DPS aren't ever ripping threat off you. By all means, if you want to get Omen Threat Meter, go and get Omen Threat Meter. It's probably good in raids, as you can see, where you're racing with the other tank for threat. But generally, if you taunt the boss is coming to you, and then you're going to start building up rage anyway, or whatever your resource is, and you're going to start dumping it into the boss, and you're not going to have any troubles holding threat. But by all means, if you want to get Omen Threat Meter, it is a threat meter, same as a DPS meter, but for threat, go get it. But if Addon Jesus came down to me and said I had to take 3 add-ons to heaven, I'd be taking LVI, Weak Auras, and DBM. So they're my 3 big core ones, guys, that I would highly recommend getting. So we've got our add-ons sorted out now. So what I'm going to do is, in the description of this video, there's going to be a link to a paste bin. And you can see on the screen at the moment, I'm going to put my export for LVI into that paste bin link. So all you need to do is go into LVI, go into import, copy the export link from my paste bin, paste it into your import, and you will have my LVI set up for you. You'll just need to go and change the name to whatever your characters is, unless you all want to run around as me. And you can do what you like with it. Feel free to fucking change it or do whatever you like. It doesn't affect me, but I had a lot of people ask me they like the way my LVI is set up, so you guys can have it and you can do whatever you want. I'm going to put all the weak auras that I've sort of stolen and made my own into there, and again, go nuts with that and do whatever you like. But if there is something that you want further from that, just Google it. I'm sure someone has made it, or as I said, watch the tutorials and you can go and make your own. When you are setting up your weak auras, one thing I will say, and one thing I've definitely learned, is that functionality is the most important thing. I originally had all of my icons under my unit frames, my player unit frame. They're now all on top. The reason being is that I wanted my UI to be as central as possible with my abilities, so I don't have to wander my eyes down to the bottom of the screen to look at what's up, what's procced, what's ready. Because you got to think, the more time that your eyes are spent not looking at your character, the more bad shit you can stand in, the more bad things you can get hit by. So you want to keep your UI as central as you can. It's great to have a streamlined one that looks fantastic, but make sure it's functional above all things. So moving on to keybindings now, guys, and keybindings is a really interesting one, because as beginners, I think a lot of people just tend to click straight off the bat and then they get stuck in click molds. Now, I am not giving shit to clickers, but keybindings is by far a flat out fucking better way to game in this game. It is so much quicker reaction about talking just then about diverting your eyes from the middle of the screen. If you're going to click on a button, then you are watching where you're going to click. You're not blind clicking. I don't care how fucking long you've been clicking for. So it is slower and it is more of a distraction. So I sort of beg you to give this a go. If you go into your game menu via escape and you go to keybindings, what you're going to go and do is you're going to go and change your strafe keys. So your strafe keys are auto bound to Q and E. You are going to change your strafe keys to A and D. This means you will have no turning on your keyboard anymore. You still will with the arrows, but you're never going to fucking use them anyway. So you will have no turning on your keyboard, and what you are going to do is you're going to turn with your mouse. So if you hold both of your mouse buttons down, you can actually run on the spot. If you didn't know that, or not, you don't run on the spot, you run forwards. And you can turn, you can swivel with this. So if you are pushing forward on your W key, you can hold the right mouse button down and you can start to turn with that. And that is pretty much what you are going to do now. And you are going to strafe with A and D. And you're going to use that mouse to turn. It is so much quicker, guys. It will take a little bit to get used to, but I do beg you to give it a chance. What we're then going to do is, if you're using LVI or if you're using the Blizzard frames, whatever you are using, is we're going to keybind your abilities. Now, you do not need to keybind every single ability straight off the bat. Start small. Start with your major abilities. Get used to it. I have a Razer Naga mouse that I could not speak fucking highly enough of. There is a Corsair mouse that is similar to it. I don't know the name of it, and I'm still waiting for them to sponsor me and give me a bunch of free shit, which is never going to happen. Or even Razer. Anyone want to give me free stuff, go for it. But these mouses are fucking great. There's 12 buttons on the Razer Naga. There's 2 buttons up the top, so that's 14, and you can also bind your mouse wheel. So 15 buttons you can pretty much have on your mouse. I then use things like Shift, Control, and Alt for modifiers. And then look at binding, again, functional buttons around your hand. So look at binding Q, E, R, T, F, G, ZX, whatever you like, whatever is easy for you, but bind your abilities that are easy positions for your hand, that are functional, pretty much what I said. But the gaming mouses from Razer and Corsair are well worth the investment. I don't even know if I could play without one of them. I'd be shit. But find whatever works for you, and please give the keybinding a chance, guys. It will make a huge difference to your gaming. Lastly, guys, I want to touch on macros, and I really don't honestly use macros anymore. The only time that I really use macros is if there is a focus target that I need to interrupt, or I need it to dark sim or something like that, in the WOD challenge modes, like in Everbloom with the Pyromancers, or the interrupt in Arkandoon in the first packs. I have a burst macro, which is just Avatar, Battlecry, and Ravager loaded into it if I'm running Ravager at the time. And there are loads of macros out there, and if that's something you're interested in, I suggest searching for them. Some examples of them are like mouse over interrupt. So on the screen now you can see an example of a mouse over interrupt. So you'll have your show tooltip, you'll insert your spell name, be it Mind Freeze, Pummel, Spear Hand Strike, whatever it is, / cast mouse over on a harmful target if they're not dead, or if they are dead, it'll do it on your target if there's no focus, or if there's no mouse over, sorry. Again, all found off the internet, guys. If this is something you're interested in, Icy Veins have shitloads of them, and they have really good players writing for them now, so go and see about them. There's also mouse over taunt macros and things like that, but use whatever you're comfortable with. Expand yourself as far as you want to go, find what works for you. So that is pretty much going to do it for episode 2, guys. I did say I wanted to keep them around 15 to 20 minutes, and we're at 16 minutes now, so that's pretty much where I wanted to keep it. Hopefully this has been of some use to you. In the next 6 episodes, I pretty much made the decision that I am going to do beginner tank guides for all 6 classes. So that's what's coming up in the next 6 episodes of Tank Legion. I am going to start with the Prot Warrior, because that's what I'm playing at the moment. And I'm going to give you real basic beginner guides for your classes. So I'm going to give you the rotations, I'm going to give you the talents, I'm going to give you the stats. I'm going to talk about the artifact trait trees. When I'm talking about your abilities, I'm going to talk about your core abilities for offense and defense, how you use them, how they stack up, what you're supposed to do with them. And hopefully then I'll get onto the dungeon guides, and then you'll be full and well ready armed to go out tanking into Legion and have the confidence to do that. So as always, guys, if there are any questions, please do hit me up in the comments. If you've got any suggestions as well, I'd love to hear about them. If this has been of any help to you, please give it a thumbs up, and if you are not subscribed, pretty please do so. I, honest to Jeebus, really do appreciate the support. So thank you very much for checking out the video, guys, and I will see you all next time. See you guys. There is a boss, and it may not even be an MSV. No. What was an MSV? Oh, fuck, I don't remember. Hey, guys! Fuck. Why did you say that, you fuckhead?